Coming up on American Medicine Today, Ron Baker had a successful acting career when a chance encounter motivated him to completely change paths. He tells us about the incredible journey he went through to become a world-renowned life coach. Then Judy suffered a car accident that affected her neck and left her in severe pain. See how the patented Bonati Spine Procedures got her back to working with her dogs and living pain-free. Finally, returning guest, retired Colonel Jim Waurishuk joins us for a post-midterms recap, as well as a look into the future presidential election. Will the right quit tearing itself apart and finally choose a forerunner? Find out coming up on American Medicine Today.
Featuring cutting-edge science and medical innovation, touching personal stories of recovery from pain, along with political, social, and healthcare issues plaguing our nation. This is American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute and Alfred Bonati, MD.
Welcome to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bonati alongside Ethan Youker and world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati. So after walking away from a successful career in the performing arts, our next guest decided to focus his life on guiding people with a new approach for personal transformation. Joining us is Ron Baker, best-selling author of Bright Lights, Big Empty, A Journey of Profound Awakening. Thank you for joining us, Ron.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us what really drove you to quit your career as an international performer to focus on helping people?
You got it. I grew up in a very strong sense of self-doubt, having grown up with a father who never said a single thing to me. So in all that self-doubt, I eventually discovered I had these talents that got a lot of attention. And I ended up in an international performing career doing leading roles in Broadway and opera all over the world. And I thought, surely that's going to be what gets me the love, the validation. And it didn't, of course.
Yeah.
And so as I began to search for what was missing and how I could indeed become the source of filling all of that in, the tools that I put together made such a distinct difference. Then when I began to share it with other people, their lives transformed so much that I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm going to deepen the training that I'm doing here. And eventually it just seemed right to let go of the performing, and 25 years later, no regrets, and helping thousands of people around the world.
What is this bioenergetics? I've never heard of this in my life.
Yep.
Can you explain what that is?
Sure. Bio is the body, and energetics is the way energy moves through our bodies. Most of us have so little education about self and what creates health and how we can create proactive health. And one of the two elements that I put out there that makes such a difference with my clients is teaching them how to move the energy, how to recognize where they're blocked in fear and defense, and how to open that up and feel safer and safer as we begin to add new perspectives and new tools for them to be in charge of the same process I described about myself.
And apparently the book is split up into 4 different segments. It's like the call, the adult, the child, and the soul. Can you explain what those mean?
Yep. When I had my wake-up call, I had just made my debut at Lincoln Center, and I thought, oh my God, this is so glamorous and wonderful. And then when I walked out and the applause was over, it was the same old me. So my wake-up call came when I met the person who became my business partner for 22 years. And he was a seeker as well. And so meeting him and then meeting a teacher who passed on the most profound education about self and how to resolve stuff became the primary influences. Learning about self and the 3 components of self, the child, adult, and soul, is what made the biggest difference. And being able to pass on a clear map to my clients about a soul journey where the soul sets up curriculum for each of our lifetimes that we are then meant to spend our adulthood resolving, deepening, transforming. We end up in this school curriculum. And so understanding those 3 levels and how to move through them in very distinct steps is why I created my life story as a map of that journey.
Why don't you tell us about kind of that chance encounter on the bus that was kind of a catalyst for this spiritual awakening?
Yeah. I was going to an out-of-town set of tryout performances of the show that I was doing as a debut. I was sitting on the bus, and behind me was this very unassuming man in his early 40s. And I heard him telling the person next to him about a near-death experience that he had moved through. And I was totally fascinated. I had had all kinds of energetic experiences myself early on. And this was the first time I'd heard someone else talking about a similar profound initial awakening that he had. And so I turned around and I said, I don't know who you are, but I know I'm supposed to talk to you. It just feels right. And that's what led to 22 years before he passed away of the most profound friendship.
Devil's advocate, Ron, I can already hear and see people rolling their eyes at some of the stuff you're saying because it's, it's a little out there. It's a little hippy dippy kind of stuff, especially when you get into my next question, which is you talk about, I guess, conversations or encounters with the angel Gabriel.
Yep. About 3 months into my friendship with Robert, he had his very first experience when we went to a meditation group, and he had his first awakening of his particular gift, which was bringing through the energy of Archangel Gabriel. Now, I am also a skeptic. I am also a scientist. And so I tested it in every way I could. But ultimately, it's nothing more than being like a radio. A radio picks up energy from nowhere through thin air, and it hits a receiver, and then we just learn to accept it. Well, if you'd gone back 100 years and said there's going to be this little box in your living room that you can do this, and all of a sudden stuff from all over the world will come in, it would have hit our comfort zones. And so now the same thing was happening for him. And what mattered to me more than the phenomenon of channeling, the information was so clear, loving, empowering, and transformed my life. And now I've been able to help transform thousands of others.
In the book, you talked about how some people seem to live a long time and others don't, and some are really set on the path to prosper and others aren't. Can you delve more into that?
Yes. One of the things as a child, I was like, life just doesn't make sense or seem fair to me. I don't get it. Why you talk about God being so loving? How in the world is it loving for a person to have one lifetime and live for 3 months versus somebody who lives 100 years, or somebody has money, somebody doesn't, somebody has intelligence, somebody doesn't. And yet when I realized eventually that more than half the planet already embraced the idea of a soul journey that has lifetime after lifetime, all of a sudden it became, I come in for the curriculum of the level I have reached, and I need different challenges in different lifetimes. For instance, me having the challenge of a father who never said anything to me put so much focus on that particular subject that sent me on the trajectory of seeking out what was missing. And when I began to put the pieces together of what was missing, I not only reparented my own nervous system by learning much more fulfilling options, but I then got to play the loving paternal energy in all those other people's lives. So I needed the challenge that I had to set me on that path.
So what exactly can readers of your book take away from that? I mean, from what I'm kind of gathering as you speak, it's it sounds like counseling to me. Is that kind of what it is?
I'm a bioenergetics therapist. And so there's tons of psychology in this, but it's spiritual psychology, helping people understand who we are as sacred individuals. And so in the book, you will learn how to take yourself through a process of self-discovery, how to nurture yourself and resolve the wounding that you have carried that keeps you in limiting patterns, and like you keep hitting the same ceiling or attracting the same relationships over and over. And then talks about the potential that very few people even think about reaching. And so there's a lot for people at different levels.
Well, we truly appreciate you being on the program to kind of give us this heightened sense of self and what we can do to really make our lives better and not be hindered with problems of the past. Thank you so much for being on the program, Ron Baker.
Thank you.
Coming up after the break, a story of recovery.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati Spine Procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented the precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine Procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 70,000 procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail. Judy Shoemaker is not your average grandmother.
I am a professor. I teach doctoral research for several online universities and have a lot of hobbies and a lot of interests. I'm married. I have 2 grown children and 2 granddaughters. One's 9 and one's 3. And they keep me quite busy. And obviously, I have dogs. I have one therapy dog, and this is Charlie. He's right here. And we're part of Therapy Dogs International. Therapy Dogs International is the largest and oldest therapy dog organization in the world. We have over 96,000 dogs and handlers nationwide and internationally. Our jobs are providing emotional support. They also are very, very good we do reading programs with children. We work with autistic kids. We work with memory care, Alzheimer's, and Charlie and I actually do a lot of work with hospice.
Her dedication to her family, students, and therapy dog organization was unwavering until a car accident in December 2014.
I used to think whiplash was something that people made up to get out of work, to be very honest with you, until I saw my back.
The pain affected nearly her entire body.
Both legs all the way down. My left foot would not function. I had to lock my foot and swing it through, radiating pain down basically every direction on both sides of my legs. My lower back was very sore. I had numbness in both arms, and here, very severe pain in this area, and then the pain going up and over my head. So I was functioning on about a level 7 to 8 all the time.
Like many others, Judy tried various pain management techniques.
We went through all the pain management. I did 6 rounds of pain management injections with no improvement. I have a chiropractor. He did everything he could, and then the relief that I did get was from my acupuncturist, who would treat me several times a week just to keep pain under control. You can only live so long functioning with a pain level of that high all the time. I wasn't sleeping because it would keep my worst time is always at night, and so I wasn't sleeping. So when you're not sleeping, that makes it even worse. And so everybody's saying, "You really are in pain." I'm fine, you know. But that was the best I could do.
When traditional methods of pain relief failed, Judy did what she does best.
How did I find Bonati? I found Bonati by doing my research. All right, I'm a research professor. This is what I do. So I started looking at alternatives. I did go to another laser spine institute, and they basically told me that from the MRI that I had, I might have one disc that needed to be fixed. But that they really didn't see that was anything more than that. I knew from my research that my pain was definitely going in more directions than just that one disc. I went to a local neurosurgeon who I couldn't get past his PA, so that never materialized. And so I just decided to make an appointment with Bonati, and I looked and I realized that because he was the one who founded the procedure, that it was probably best to go to the source. You tend to go to the best person that you can find. So that's why I chose to go to Bonati.
Bonati Spine Procedures are custom tailored to each patient and performed one level at a time to address the source of the pain, targeting the most painful areas first.
Show me where you hurt. Yep, that's right there. And so we had a treatment plan like that because my pain reflected what he saw in the x-rays and the MRIs. And that is a very unique procedure. The doctors and the staff actually listen to what the patients are telling them.
Within minutes of their procedure, patients are up and walking in the recovery room, and in most cases, back to work in just a matter of days.
Let's go to work. We have had amazing recovery. We come back to the room. I'll go back to the hotel. I put myself back, I take a nap, we put myself back together, and we go out to dinner. And I walk. We have to walk a lot. So I walk 20 to 40 minutes the day of surgery, after surgery.
Now she's back to enjoy quality time with her grandchildren and, of course, Charlie.
I'm more active with my dog than I was before because there was a point which I couldn't lift him. And I'm teaching my 3-year-old granddaughter how to swim this summer. That's been an experience. I do a lot with my music. I do a lot with sewing and things like that. I think I value my health and my well-being much more than I ever did before. It's really a phenomenal experience. I can't encourage people enough. I mean, I pass out cards like crazy. My acupuncturist has a stack of them.
Judy has witnessed firsthand the success of the Bonati Spine Procedures.
I mean, I've seen people come in wheelchairs, bent over, and the next day in clinic are walking for the first time in months. I mean, that's miraculous. It's really miraculous. They give their people their lives back because pain, you can manage, you can live with a level 3 or 4 if you have to, but you can't live with a level 7, 8, 9 on a daily basis and not have it wear you out. From the moment you hit the door, you have a feeling that there's hope. It's not like walking into a traditional doctor's office where everybody is, we have to do this, they take their jobs very, very seriously, but it's a very uplifting facility. And, everybody knows you and you have the same team. This is, I think, what's so important for people to know is that you have the same team that you meet the first day that stay with you until you're done. Those people know you. They know how you react to anesthetic. They know they know what veins to work. I mean, that sounds silly, but they know what veins and which arm is where they should go after for the for their IVs in pre-op. They know how you react to the anesthetic. They know that your blood pressure is usually this, and so if it's not, and especially in recovery, they know that this is how you recover. So if there's something out of the ordinary, they spot it like that. And that's what's very, very unique. I mean, they're wonderful. They're just really wonderful. But that familiarity, that camaraderie is something that I think is quite unique.
The good news this time is it was not open back surgery.
He was a doctor that didn't want to fillet my back open like a fish.
During the whole operation, I was awake. I was talking to the doctor. I saw the operation in the monitor.
He did the surgery on the left side, and a week later, I was back in the gym.
When somebody can help you to where you can recover and where you can do the things that you were able to do before, you just become thankful.
It just opens up doors that you thought were closed.
I love you, Doc.
Welcome back to American Medicine Today. We have retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Jim Waurishuk in studio with us to talk about, what we can expect moving forth after these midterm elections. So first off, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We shouldn't have the infighting between President Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And I think we can learn a lesson from the Democrats. The only positive lesson would be stick together no matter what. I don't care what goes on. You don't deviate from the two of them are a force to be reckoned with. Don't allow any infighting because that's what the Democrats want. Mm-hmm. And that's where Republicans fail.
We all support Trump. We all support DeSantis. Yes. So it's kind of, we don't really like what we're hearing and seeing, yes, that they're kind of at each other's throats now. What are your thoughts? What can you say?
From my standpoint, the way I've looked at it with regard to President Trump and Governor DeSantis, Governor DeSantis just got reelected and he has a 4-year term to complete and commit and uphold. And I hope he does that. I think that is a testimony to him and how Floridians see him. And he has a lot still to do in Florida. He didn't have a very strong legislature behind him to give him the bills that he wanted. In fact, he told the legislature on numerous occasions, I want a bill that says this. And either he got it and it was weak or he didn't get it at all. And, there's a list of things that he wants to see done. And I think that's a critical part of what he needs to do in Florida, and we need to keep him here in Florida. The other reason, and I'll be really blunt on this, we don't have a replacement yet for him. We don't have a person who I like to say is equally as strong as Governor DeSantis or stronger.
Exactly.
We're going to need somebody to pick up the mantle and not fall back, but to move it forward, because things are as they are in our country. If you strategize it out, you have President Trump for 4 years, and then you have Ron DeSantis for 8 years. That is a 12-year, very strong ticket, if you will. Yes. And we need to start also creating a bench of who's to come after that.
We love Trump.
Sure.
We know that he's unique not only as a person, at the same time as a business, and is extremely, extremely intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
DeSantis is like his son.
Protege.
Sure.
Okay, so would be very dumb for both to start to try to play something, because that is what the Democrats want.
Exactly.
This is a strategy of the media and the Democrats that they are creating an issue. And unfortunately, I don't like that they are going to either one criticize the other one,
right,
because the situation today in the country deserve both.
Exactly.
Florida deserves DeSantis to get a little bit more strong and prepare and learn something and be able to talk to the White House for the next step.
Exactly. You're exactly right, and I agree with you 100%.
If he doesn't do that, he's going to lose the opportunity of his life, because he is the next president. The only thing that he needs to wait a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And don't fall in the trap.
Yes, exactly. Ron DeSantis is 44 years old. He will be president. But let's strategize from the standpoint of we have two strong individuals in both Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. Why not take advantage of that for the good of the country, to move the country to where it needs to be? And the problem that we're dealing with is, people say we need to forget about 2020 and move on. No, we can't forget about 2020 until we fix what happened. And what we are experiencing right now today in places like Arizona and Nevada and Pennsylvania and Georgia is the same thing. In fact, the Democrats used their opportunity over the last 2 years to refine what they did in 2020 to make it even more undetectable. And we're seeing the results of that.
What is it with these Dominion machines? Isn't that what these election sites are supposed to do? Make sure that these machines are in good working order?
I think we need to get rid of the machines totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we need to go to paper ballots like most other countries.
And one day
technology is not the right tool for
Correct.
elections.
Right. And it should be one day. Election day, period.
One
You know
day.
who wins that day.
Make it a federal holiday that you're going to vote. Everybody's going to go vote today, and you're going to do it on paper at the location.
That's the way. That's absolutely the way it should be.
Exactly.
I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if we don't stop it and fix it now, it's going to get even worse in 2024, and we might not even have a Donald Trump or a Ron DeSantis from that standpoint. And so we need to focus on, what we need to do and what we need to get done, and we need to ensure those elected who are going to go to the House, and right now they're looking like 225 Republicans. They're going to have to do a lot of work, and they're going to have to, stand up to whatever the Democrats throw at them.
But we need to make them accountable.
Absolutely.
Because one of the problems that I see on the Republican group is a tremendous amount of wimps. and to me, that in politics is deadly. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to create the opportunity for DeSantis to become the president, but at the same time, we need to create, as you say, a replacement of him, so we can continue growing in the same direction, and instead to have 4 years and then get another Democrat in the House.
Yep, and the same thing in Florida. We need somebody to on the bench to replace DeSantis when he leaves. I have some ideas on that, but those have to come to fruition and happen before we can talk about it.
Can we hear those ideas?
Sure.
Who do you like?
I like Byron Donaldson.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like.
And Ron DeSantis likes him, and I think he might be the next person to run for governor after DeSantis.
So you think the smartest route would be to have DeSantis obviously run his full second term as governor. Trump already served a full term. He's only allowed one more, right?
And that's all, I think you'll get out of him from the standpoint of age and everything. And that's okay. But you need somebody with his stature and his ability who's going to go in there, and he's got to fix everything that got broke, that he's got to double down and fix it again and then accomplish what he wanted to do. The next president, Donald Trump, needs to this time really clean out both the Department of Justice and certainly the FBI, his execution arm of law enforcement, and the judicial system needs to be fixed because it is so corrupted now. We're getting into a situation where what I call is non-constitutional America, where the Constitution is out the window and it's not the backbone of law in our system, because the Democrats do whatever they want.
They're basically wiping their bums with the Constitution on a daily basis. Do you think Biden will run again?
I don't think Biden will run. I don't think the Democrat Party will want him again. It's a toss-up of who they put up. They're talking about, the governor of California and a few others. But that's the best they got.
Yeah, well, he can run the stairs.
That's it. That's all we need.
Yeah, we don't need the rest of our country into bankruptcy like he did for his own state. Thank you so much for joining us. Retired U.S. Air Force Colonel Jim Waurishuk, and also chairman of the Hillsborough County Republican Party. Thank you yet again for being on the program.
Thank you for the invite.
Certainly. That wraps up this edition of American Medicine Today. Check us out next Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern on Newsmax. And if you would like to see a previous episode, head over to YouTube and check out American Medicine Today.
If you have any comments or questions, contact us at the number below. You can tweet at Dr. Bonati using hashtag American Medicine Today or hashtag AMT. We would like to hear from you. Don't be screwed by lesser spine institutes who bait you with minimally invasive procedures, then switch to screws, rods, disc replacements, and hardware. At Bonati, no metal hardware fusions are ever used. Bonati invented the precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati Spine Procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.